After months of waiting, they're finally here. Let me move this out your way. Welcome back. We're back again. This time it's not a train exhibition. This is an unboxing. Yes, another unboxing. This isn't a loco, believe it or not. This is, I'm going to say, an entire freight train. Could I add to it? Yeah, of course I could. But no, I'm happy with this for the time being. Basically, these wagons have been in the pipeline or in the making for at least, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years, and they fairly recently announced that obviously they were going to be released. And I thought, you know what, I love the contrast of these wagons. They're just so in your face, it's actually unreal. And I thought, you know what, I didn't want to miss this opportunity, because you know what I'm like, I'm always very late to the party. So for that, I usually end up missing the wagons and things. So for me, it's just like, you know what, I really want this. So I brought an entire freight train in one hit, and yeah. But before I show you, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's liked, subscribed and viewed the videos. And obviously if you've left a comment, I'll get back to you very, very soon. Going on the comments thing, if I've liked it and loved it, it usually means I've replied back to you. I have found that when I do a reply back to the person who's left the comment, it doesn't always come up with their name or anything like that. So if I've liked it and loved it, it means I've replied back. And secondly, guess what? It wouldn't be the same without a good cup of tea. So cheers. Oh, very good, very good. Right, let's get to it. Right, safety first, safety first. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the, I would say, long awaited, or it felt like very long awaited. That's right, orange. Only means one thing, the Cavalex Bardon wagons. Right, let's have a look. So, some say this might be a striking livery, others might say quite disgusting, but please welcome to the very much in-your-face orange, green and yellow Bardon Hill wagons. So I have two liveries. That is the first livery. Now let's find the second livery. And the second livery is the very beautiful, again, Bardon, but obviously they'd merged with another company, and obviously they had a new livery as well. So I brought 4 of these, and 17 of the other ones. You don't want to see them in hand, you want to see them on the track, and here, a little bit of history. Bardon Hill Quarry was first mentioned as a stone workings all the way back in 1622, but more modern quarrying operations were recorded in 1857, and was the first hard rock quarry to be accessible by rail north of London. Fast forward to the early 1980s, and the need for stone was forever increasing. Bardon Hill, along with a couple of other companies, placed orders for larger, privately owned bogie hopper wagons. These new wagons were to replace the ageing MSV 16-ton mineral wagons, which are owned by BR. So as you can imagine, this was going to be a big change for Bardon Hill. With a nearly a 70-ton payload for just one wagon, it could replace 4 MSVs. These new wagons were very distinctive, not with just the weight-saving diamond cutouts along the sole bar, but these also wore a very striking livery, with an all-over green on the hopper body with bright yellow banding and wording running the length of it. Everything below the body line was painted black, and these made a stark contrast to the MSV bauxite red wagons. In 1988, 8 identical wagons were ordered, taking the total amount up to 29, and these ones are even more garish, with the sole bar, bogies, hopper doors, buffers, free-link coupling, and even the wheels were painted in the same yellow as the wording. Love it or hate it, let me know. Only a year or so later and a new stone terminal was opening up in southeast London, meaning more wagons were required. 22 were made by W.H. Davis, with numbering starting from BHQ 17130 to 17151, and these were delivered in 1990, and it is this batch that Cavalex have superbly recreated. By the time these wagons were handed over to Bardon Hill, the tops code had become JGA, and these did come with various differences to the older variants. There was no weight-saving cutouts in the sole bar, and also a very noticeable difference was the move from fabricated Y25 bogies to the more rounded cast Y25 bogies, and also there were fewer side ribs used. But probably the biggest but not so evident change was the operation of the hopper doors. The PHA wagon doors were operated by an external air source, with an airline having to be attached. With the new JGAs, the hopper doors used the main air reservoir from the wagon itself, with the hopper door actuators on the sole bar. And that little bit of information came from Alex himself, so thank you, Alex. 1997 rolls round and Bardon Hill Quarries merged with Camas Aggregates and became Aggregate Industries, who are still around to this day. With this, a new livery surfaced, a white hopper body, bright green Bardon wording and Aggregate Industries logo in blue, with everything below the body line in a beautiful almost royal blue, and it wasn't uncommon to see the new and old liveries working alongside each other. Once again, W.H. Davis was contracted to build another batch of hopper wagons, as Aggregate Industries in 2004 gained new services, from the likes of Harlow Mill, which is not too far away from me, and Washwood Heath. This batch was made up of 22 wagons. These were similar in shape to the previous JGAs, but there were some differences. The end plates that covered the brake equipment were smaller in width, meaning the inspection ladder could be stowed on board rather than on the outside of the chassis. These also had unique door operating equipment mounted to the sole bars, but the biggest change came in the form of new bogies, again, moving away from the cast Y25 bogies to the new low track force 25 bogie. As far as I'm aware, there have only been a couple of wagons that have been scrapped. Also, other companies that used very similar variants of the first generation wagons was Freightliner, which were in an all-over green, and also GB Rail Freight, and these were in a mid-blue. With these wagons they used actuators to operate the hopper doors, and these were placed through the weight-saving diamond cutouts along the sole bar. They also had completely different bogie design to that used on the Bardon Hill wagons. If anyone knows any more information about these or the Bardon Hill wagons, please let me know. Now, let's talk about the incredible detail. We have to start somewhere, so let's start at the bogies. Even these are lavished in detail, from brake rigging, brake shoes, primary suspension and bearing end caps, even with the bearing maker's initials on them, reading SKF, which is the same company that supplied the wheel bearings for the Class 60, and all are crafted beautifully. Moving up and peer under the end cover, and we are greeted with all manner of brake equipment and air pipes, with one air pipe running the length of the wagon. We also have inspection ladders and handbrake wheel at one end. Look further underneath the cover and we can even see a detailed support holding up the end of the hopper. Now back out, and this time to the sides, and to what these wagons are all about. It's love it or hate it green and yellow livery. Both liveries are finished to an incredible high standard with crisp, clean edges throughout, with data and warning panels all being legible. Move down to the underside of the wagon and the high quality detailing continues, with the air operated door actuators and associated airlines which run along part of the sole bar and then running underneath the wagon, to the hopper doors themselves, to all the various rods, rod linkages and levers to operate the doors, all look incredible. And what wagon review wouldn't be without the technical wagon push test. I now have to get that out. And what wagon review wouldn't be without a Wagon Weigh In. Ah. $86 grams. There we go. You've heard the history and you've seen the incredible detail and also a Wagon Weigh In. Talking about wagon weights, we have this. So if you don't know what this is This is the Daypole JHA, tipping the scales at an eye-watering 262 grams. Now the advantage for these wagons are that they run very, very freely. These, on the other hand, are a little bit different. These wagons only top the scales at 162 grams. But the disadvantage of this wagon is the bogies, the bearings are on the inside, so it does cause quite a bit of drag. So I have oiled one side of the bearing, and now I need to oil the other side because I want to run this in a rake of about 18 wagons. So as you can imagine, that's a lot of drag. Worst case, if worst case it didn't work out, unfortunately, you're going to hate me for it. This is metal, obviously all inside is metal and the two outer parts are just plastic. Is potentially to remove some of the metal inside. I mean, if I remove this end part or some of the end part, I could just cover it in brown paper or something like that because you're not going to know any difference, and potentially drill holes in parts of the chassis just to take any weight out. I will keep you posted on that. I will see how it goes. I will do one wagon first and I'll see what the end result will be. Talking about wagon weights, this is obviously the Tilken wagon from Bachmann. This is the JGA, and this comes in on the scales at 68 grams. Add 2 weights to it, comes in at 152 grams. Now I've got 32 of them. That's correct, 32 of them. In my train plan, I'm putting 27 or 28 of them in one train. So as you can imagine, it's going to be quite heavy. So this here is 12 wagons worth of weights, and that tips the scales, just them alone, over 1 kilogram. So I've still got over 12 wagons left to do. So you can imagine it's over 2 kilograms. So it's quite a bit of weight to remove. And I've also got the ready mix cement JGA wagons as well, which I'm going to do exactly the same too. Right, moving on to pricing and where did I get these from? So these are incredibly reasonably priced. This is a second-hand debranded Bachmann wagon, and this was second-hand, and this come in at the scales of £75. That's correct, 75 quid. They have re-released the branded National Power wagons, and I think they were going for £55. That was the cheapest I saw, and I have ordered my my wagons through a certain shop, so I should be picking those up hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so. And so the pricing of these is £45 for one and £135 for a pack of 3. So obviously you can build up your rakes very, very quickly. They do 2 packs, pack A and pack B as well. So obviously there's multiple numbering going on. Where did I get them from? So I have no affiliations to this company, but I want to say thank you to Ultimate Model Railways, and they're only based about 10 miles away from me, believe it or not. And I got them through them. And the advantage was, which I didn't realise at the time, was when I ordered a couple of other things, the bill for the wagons actually come out immediately. So I didn't have this big bill when these wagons come out. So the bill for these come out probably about 2 months ago. So I didn't have to worry about the money, thinking, oh, I need the money in there for when the wagons turn up. So that was a nice little thing that was. So I will be hopefully getting some more wagons through them, because it's easy to get the money out the way. You don't want to hear me waffling on and boring the hell out of you. You want to see these in a full-length train, and that is what you're going to get. So grab yourself a cup of tea, sit back and relax and enjoy this. there we go. What do you think? Love the livery or hate the livery? I think it looks absolutely stunning. The yellow and green, obviously, do they go together? I don't think they do, to be honest with you, but they certainly stand out, and you'd certainly know who owned those wagons if they were coming along the railway line. Absolutely stunning. Regarding the loco pulling it, that is 60027 Joseph Banks. That's also a Cavalex model. It is the only one in a triple grey livery that I have for the time being. I would like to get a couple more, obviously not in the petroleum sector, but maybe some others. On the other tracks, we have the legendary 56008 in BR Blue. Obviously, that is another Cavalex model pulling, I think it's 16 JHA Daypole ARC wagons. When I done the initial unboxing on these ARC wagons, I did find that having 18 on here, yes, 18, I have got 25 altogether, never mind, that it dragged. There was so much drag within the wheels, it was actually unreal. And they are quite a heavy wagon as well. So what I have very recently done is oil all the bearings, and it has made a pleasant difference. It's freed it up a little bit more, and I have also been running them in as well. So, but I do find that even with 16, if I run this train at a very slow speed, it will still stall on these corners, because these are very, very sharp corners. So that is why I try and have it at a sort of set speed so it doesn't stall, but it looks absolutely fantastic. Regarding these wagons, obviously absolutely perfection. Are there any left? Yes, there are. Am I considering getting some more? When I get my bills out the way, if there is any left, I will probably get a few more just to add to this, the green and yellow rake. So it just means I could do pre-1997, so pre-1990. So 1997 is when Camas Industries joined forces with Bardon Hill Quarries and become aggregate Industries, and that's where the white livery comes from. So yeah, so it'll give me the two choices. So obviously, I just want to say a massive thank you to my brother for allowing me to run my trains around on his network. And obviously, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's liked, subscribed and viewed the videos. And obviously, if you want to leave a comment, please feel free, because I'll get back to you very, very soon. And obviously, remember, if I've liked the comment and loved it, it means I've replied back. Obviously, if there's something to reply back to. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. See you later.